Recording now, and we'll get started looking at the syllabus and talking about a few things. And if you have any questions before we get started, please ask, and then any questions afterwards, of course, ask those as well. All good. Okay, let me share the screen and go over to Canvas. So here is our page, our site. And so my name is Sita Bhattacharjee. Please call me Sita. The best way to get in touch with me is via email, which I assume you have, but it's bhattacharjeesita@fhda.edu. And of course, I have office hours. I have 2 hours a week on Wednesdays from 12:30 to 2:30. If this time doesn't work for you, then let me know if you want to meet with me, and we can arrange another time to meet and talk. Okay. So, welcome to Exploring Visual Expression. Um, Using 35 millimeter photography as the medium, we will use natural forms, both human and otherwise, and man-made objects as subjects for artistic photographic expression. After covering the use of 35 millimeter cameras, lenses, and film, and other, not so much film anymore, uh, and other creative controls in photography, we will explore the basic principles of perception, light, color, composition, and visual awareness, and how these elements are used to make a successfully composed image. Through slides and videos, we will also look at the work of a number of photographers. And you are encouraged to employ your own aesthetic, intellectual, and emotional concerns as a basis for your photographic expressions. So, a little more simply put, we'll use this is a class that goes into what makes a successful image. And in this case, we're using photography. You could also use painting or sketching, um, but we're using photography. And um, most most photographers these days use some type, some version. Boy, the background's cutting this out, isn't it? Some version of this type of camera, which is called a 35 millimeter SLR. And SLR stands for single lens reflex. Single lens seems pretty obvious, right? Because it has one lens, but it was originally to distinguish it from cameras that did have two lenses. Um, the reflex refers to a mirror that's built inside the body of the camera that allows us to see what will be recorded by the camera before we actually take the picture. Okay. And so for the last 40 or 50 years, this type of camera has been the kind of go-to camera for advanced amateurs and for professional photographers. That is changing somewhat, but it's still true for the time being. So for this class, you will need a digital camera, and preferably a DSLR, single lens reflex camera, or one that allows you some measure of control over the functions of the camera, such as the aperture and the shutter. So hopefully you will have some kind of camera that allows you to control how much light is entering the camera and in what way it enters the camera. And you don't have to have an SLR. There are some relatively small point and shoot cameras that still give you control over those functions, and others as well. If you have a camera and you have questions about it, please feel free to ask me. Bring it to my office hours. Um, I don't pretend to know everything about each and every camera model or to even know each and every camera model. So if you do have an instruction manual, that would be helpful, but I'm happy to go over uh, any questions that you have about your cameras. Okay, so due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and the measures put in place to slow its spread, this class and all others at the moment at Dianza, which normally would be taught in person on campus, will be taught completely online, as you know. Students must have regular access to a computer with high-speed internet access, that's redundant, sorry, and be familiar with using the internet and with Canvas. I can't imagine that any of you are not. As this is an online class, you must be familiar with Canvas, and I assume that you guys are all well acquainted with Canvas at this point. All course material and information will be found there. We will also periodically have Zoom meetings, and my office hours will be via Zoom. You will find the invitations for these meetings in the Zoom meetings module on Canvas. And that is also where you will find recordings of Zoom meetings, including this one. There is a recommended text for this class. You're not required to purchase it, but it is recommended. It's entitled Complete Digital Photography by Ben Long. It's in the 9th edition. And readings will be shown in their corresponding modules on Canvas or in Canvas. To purchase the book, you need to go to the publisher's website. So that's completedigitalphotography.com/store. And you can buy either the printed version or an ebook version. The printed version looks like this. I have to hold it in front of me. Goodness, that doesn't work well. Suppose I should get rid of that background. Okay, wow, that's weird. Anyway, this is the text. And it's a nice text, I think. I've just started using this particular one and moved away from another that is a very good one, but is quite expensive and not as extensive. Anyway, as I said, you are not required to purchase it. I find it nice to have a reference, but then I'm old fashioned. I'm old and I grew up with books. So they are still my go-to rather than necessarily looking stuff up online. Up to you. I will not test you on anything that is not on Canvas, that is not included in the course material. It's just the text is like a backup. Okay. So if for some inexplicable reason you desire or decide to drop this class, it's your responsibility to do so. So if you decide you don't like the class or you don't like me, or for whatever reason it doesn't work out, taking this class at this time doesn't work out, please drop the class. Generally, when someone stops attending, I check in and send an email to see if everything's going all right. But eventually, if the person stops attending, I will probably drop the person, but I don't guarantee that I will. And it would be a shame for you to end up with a W on your transcript, or heaven forbid, an F, because you didn't drop the class. Okay, so I certainly hope that you do not drop the class, that you enjoy it, and that if there are issues, please talk to me. We can always work things out. But if you need to drop the class, please do so. Okay, assignments and grading. So there are 4 shooting assignments for this class, and there is an exam and a written assignment. So the assignments are listed. The first is entitled Depth of Field, the second Motion, the third the Portrait and Self-Portrait, and the fourth Favorite and Not So Favorite Things. Then Final Exam and Written Assignment. Grading, so evaluation or grading, will be based upon a written exam, the timely submission of assignments, participation, and overall effort. Late assignments are accepted, but points may be deducted depending on the number of days late, and also, if you have issues and talk to me about it, generally, we'll work things out. If you are unhappy with a grade, please speak with me about it. And based on the strength and validity of your arguments, I may or may not change your grade, but you may redo the assignment for a higher grade. I don't give extra credit, but you may redo the first 3 assignments if you want to for a higher grade. The fourth one, of course, is due at the end of the term, and so there isn't time to redo that one. Okay. Projects and the exam will be graded on a 1,000 point scale, and a minimum passing grade is a D- or 60%. And the breakdown of the grades follows. We use the plus minus system. And for some reason that is not clear to me, De Anza does not give C minuses. It gives A, B, and D minuses, but not C. I have no idea why. I asked the dean why, and he was not really able to provide me with an answer. Anyway, the breakdown follows of grading. And the assignments are broken up as follows. The first 3 assignments are worth 100 points each for a total of 300 points. The fourth assignment is worth 200 points. The written assignment, which I'll talk about in a moment, is worth 200 points. The exam is worth 200 points, and participation is worth 100 points for a total of 1,000 points. The final exam will be available on Canvas during finals week, which is June 21st through 25th. And this means that you must take the exam sometime between 12 a.m. on Monday and 11:59 p.m. on Friday. You may take the exam twice, and of course, the higher of the grades will be recorded. Okay. The written assignment is not very long. It's 2 paragraphs roughly, and you're required to watch 2 videos, and I have a host of videos from which you can choose on different photographers. And so you'll watch them and do a write-up of each one, roughly a paragraph for each. It's not, it's not like a 20-page research paper or anything like that. You may want to look up a few things, a few facts online, but yeah, shouldn't be a big deal. I hope. Participation, well, I'll get to participation in one moment. And a breakdown of what the grades mean. And A indicates excellent work, B indicates very good work, C indicates average work, a D indicates below average, and an F, of course, failing. That is unacceptable or nothing there, or whatever. I'm sure you all have a pretty good idea of what the grading system means. Okay. All work submitted for this course is to have been made for this class over the course of this academic quarter, and not, therefore, prior to April 5th, 2021. That was the beginning of this quarter. So I expect you to make images for this class. And you may have an image that you made 3 years ago that fits the assignment perfectly. I don't want to see that, or at least I don't want you to turn it in for the assignment. I'd love to see your work, period. Um, so new work for this class. Can I tell if you have turned in something that was shot previously? Generally, yes, actually. So the information about the image is embedded in the file, the image file. It's called the metadata. And information about the camera you used, the lens, the settings, often the lighting situation, if you had the GPS turned on, where it was made, and of course the date. Um, so yes, generally, unless you go to pains to remove the metadata or change it, I can tell when it was made. Can you change the metadata? Yes. It's a little bit of a pain in the neck, but you certainly can change the metadata. I think it's more of a hassle to change the metadata than it is just to do the assignment. Uh, but at any rate, new work for the class, please. Participation. Though we will not be meeting in person, participation, which includes asking questions, making comments, and discussing your work and the work of your classmates, is still an important facet of education and learning. In fact, I think it's almost vital. But anyway, it's not as easy to do with an online class, especially because this class and many others are listed as being asynchronous, which means that we never meet officially. But you will be randomly assigned 2 classmates per assignment whose work you must comment upon. So that comes up after the due date of each assignment. And you are to go to Canvas and look at the work of these 2 randomly assigned classmates and comment on their work. And not just something like, wow, that's really beautiful, or I think you did a great job, period. Be specific. Do the images work for you? Do they not? Why? Okay. And you don't have to write a tome about it. A few sentences is sufficient. Okay. There will also be periodic Zoom meetings, which, though not mandatory, are recommended. So again, our Zoom meetings are not required because we never actually meet officially. But I think it's nice to gather periodically, see each other, be able to talk about work. So we'll be holding Zoom meetings, probably one for each assignment at least, so that we can take a look at your work and talk about it. Again, you're not required to attend, and though I recommend it, but and I would love for you to come. But I will be recording the Zoom meetings as I'm recording this, and I will post them on Canvas so that if you did not attend, could not, or would not attend, you will not have missed anything. Okay, so here are the things that we have to put in the syllabus. I'm sure they do not apply to you. And especially, of course, when we're online, disruptive behavior probably will not be an issue. But any student disrupting the class may be asked to leave the class. Administrative follow-up may result. Again, probably not an issue at this time. Hopefully never, ever, hopefully ever. Academic integrity, which essentially means don't cheat. So as a student at De Anza, you join a community of scholars who are committed to excellence in the process of teaching and learning. Academic honesty, and of course, honesty in general, is fundamental to this community. We assume that all students will pursue their studies with integrity and honesty, that the work they submit is their own original work, work that accurately represents the time and effort applied. Excuse me one moment. Sorry. Sorry. Cheating, plagiarism of written or visual information, or knowingly furnishing false information in the classroom or to the instructor is academic dishonesty and is a violation of the honor code. Students are expected to be familiar with the honor code and to recognize that violations of this code are most serious and will be handled in a manner that fully represents the extent of the code and that befits the seriousness of its violation. Uh, so, again, please don't cheat. Do your own work, submit your own work, and just do your best. Um, One thing I want to add about plagiarism is that many people, maybe myself included in some ways, make the assumption that if something is online, it's kind of a freebie, it's there for the taking. And in some ways that's true. However, somebody wrote it, somebody did made the image or wrote the article. And so using it without an attribution is plagiarism. So if you want to cite, if you want to use this information, then you cite the source. You say, I got it from wherever. And if it's a direct quote, put parentheses around it, right? Not parentheses, quotation marks, excuse me. Okay. If you have any questions or concerns about this, or of course about anything else, please ask. The student learning outcome. So upon completion of this course, you should be able to interpret and utilize the photographic medium as a means of communication. That is very broad. Right? So hopefully you will have learned the basics of photography, and through looking at images, through making images, through discussion, have a better idea of what goes into the making of a successful image. Okay. Student Success Center is a very useful uh, resource. There's no, I think some people feel embarrassed to use the Student Success Center or the Counseling Center. I understand in a way, but they are wonderful people, and the help and information they can give you can be really, really important. So if you're having any trouble, the Student Success Center offers counseling. They offer tutoring, and yeah. So if you have any need, please feel free to to contact them. Um, and for disabled students as well, we have disabled student services. Um, if you have any issues, it's a good idea to talk with them and sort of register with them. They can be a really good advocate for students, in terms of if you need extra time to take an exam, and any number of other things. So yeah, go ahead and contact them. I also have on on Canvas in the modules, uh, the um, the counseling center's information. So yeah, don't hesitate to seek help if you need it. Important dates. Obviously, Monday, April 5th has come and gone, the first day of the, oh, that's supposed to say spring quarter. Sorry about that. I'll change that. But the dates are correct. So this coming Saturday, that is tomorrow, is the last day to add any quarter length classes using an add code. That is a code that you have to get from an instructor, and the date is enforced. Sunday, the 18th of April is the last day to drop a quarter length class for a full refund or credit, and also the last day to drop a quarter length class with no record of a grade or no record of you having ever been here. Um, After that date, you can drop classes, but there will be a record of your having been in the class, and you'll get a W on your transcript for withdrawn. Yes, withdrawal or withdrawn. Um, After May 28th, which is the last day to drop with a W, you cannot drop the class even if you want to. Nor can I drop it for you after that time. So again, if you want to drop the class, or you don't, you can't take it for whatever reason, that is the last cutoff date, after which if you have not done the work for the class, you'll receive an F. So drop it if you need to. Friday, June 25th, which is the last day of the quarter, is the last day to request the pass, no pass grade option. It's also the last date to request an EW, that is the withdrawn, but with an E attached, if the student has COVID-19 related reasons for withdrawing. So I don't know how you're supposed to prove that. But if you have had COVID or been affected directly by COVID-19 and it has interfered with your schoolwork, you need to let me know, and I assume you need to let the school know as well. And so instead of getting just a regular W, you get an EW, which I assume it stands for something like excused. And it doesn't look as bad as a W. And finally, finals week, again, is June 21st through June 25th. And we do, again, have a final exam for the class, which you have to take during that time. The exam covers all of the technical stuff that we have gone over, or you've gone over, that is in the modules, the readings, the lectures, there's some videos as well. But you'll be tested on the technical stuff, and it's not a particularly difficult exam as long as you have done, gone through the work. It's a 25 question multiple choice exam, so the answers are there in front of you. And that's about it. I do welcome truly your questions and comments. Please feel free to contact me with these or any other concerns or issues you have via email or during my office hours, or again, if my office hours are at a time that does not work for you, or then please contact me and we can arrange to meet at another time. Okay. And finally, a picture of Steve Sasson in 1975 with his invention, the first digital camera, and it recorded to a cassette tape. And probably most of you have never encountered a cassette tape in real life. I grew up with them, of course, but we've come a long way since then. And in fact, digital cameras became available for purchase in the late 1990s. So only about 20 years ago, and they've completely changed photography just in 20 years. And in fact, photography had not changed substantively for a good 100 years before that. So things got better and more efficient and so on, but the basic functions of cameras and the basic recording medium, which was film, pretty much stayed the same. So yes. a time of flux in so many ways, right? So strange times, weird times, disturbing times, but also amazing times, and things happening incredibly. Okay, so any questions? Anybody? Any questions on any of this? No? All good? Okay, well, let's
I'm
just take,
sorry, I
yeah,
actually I did have a question real quick. If you could show me where I can access the assignments, I missed the.
sure. This is the home page, and so if you continue to scroll down, oh, and here are photographic resources as well, both in person and online.
Okay,
And at the very bottom, it says course summary. And this is where one place you can access the assignments.
got it.
Right here.
And
And also up here, all the way at the top, you can click on assignments here. Okay, so
and so the assignments will be available week after week, correct? Like they're not available
that's
immediately.
correct. So the first assignment, excuse me, is due at the end of this month, and it will open up on April 19th. So if you click on it, oh, no wonder, sorry, that's not the student view. This is the student view. This is what you'll see when you click on it, that the assignment is locked until Monday. That is actually Sunday night at midnight. It will open up, and then
Okay,
you have about 2 weeks to do it.
and so we don't really actually have anything to do until that assignment other than to do some readings and study how our camera works and
Exactly.
okay.
So in the modules, there's a welcome, which I'll go over in a moment, and then resources.
Right,
Uh,
I saw all those.
okay. And this is where the Zoom meetings will be posted and their video links. And then all of these, each section, uh, you'll go through in order. And the assignments roughly follow the, well, let me say this, you need to have gone over these things before you can do the assignments or before you
So
should do them.
are these lectures corresponding to each assignment? Which lectures correspond to which assignment? Do we
So
just read all of them?
yeah, you want to go through these, go through the basics, the lens, controlling light, entering the camera, equivalent exposures, and then depth of field. So depth of field is the first assignment due at the end of the month in about 2 weeks time. So you need this information in order to do the assignment. You need to understand how your camera functions, which is what most of this is.
Okay, I see it's labeled here with this assignment timeline. I got it.
Yeah. And then go through depth of field, which is the amount of space in the frame that's in focus from the foreground to background, and then do the assignment. Okay. So each module, each module has lectures. It has written, readings, lectures, and then class notes. And so the class notes are what I've written out as I lecture. And then you can either look at the lecture with the notes or just look at the notes or both. Um, it
Okay,
looks,
thank you. It sounds pretty straightforward. I was just looking for the resource inside of the website of the dashboard.
in the dashboard.
No, I just wanted to see where it was located because I was having a hard time finding it, but you showed it to me that right there. I have to
Oh,
click
okay.
courses.
All right.
I didn't know that because I'm not familiar with the dashboard interface. You know, the Canvas interface.
Canvas. Okay. Uh-huh. Um,
Professor, I had one question.
yes, David, is it?
Yes, I have a Nikon D60 camera, and
Mhm.
I noticed that wasn't one of the ones that you kind of recommended. So I was just wondering if that one would still kind of fit good for this class.
Absolutely. The list I gave are just a few cameras that are available right now. So I believe the D60 is a somewhat older camera, which is great. It's fine, absolutely fine
Okay.
for
Yeah,
that class. Yeah,
it was my mom's older camera, but
that's
thank you.
fine. Yeah, absolutely. And that goes, you know, in general, as long as the camera works, that's great. You know, it doesn't have to be a new camera at all. And in fact, in general, you don't have to have the newest and the best and most expensive ever, really. I mean, very few of us really need an $8,000 camera body, you know. Most of us, myself included, can't afford that anyway. But we need a camera body and lenses, of course, that do what we need them to do, you know, that function accurately. But very few of us need the bells and whistles that an 8,000 or even a, you know, $3,000 or $4,000 camera body has. This camera, it's a Nikon D7100, which is a slightly older camera at this point. I got it some, you know, several years ago at least at Costco. And Costco has some really good deals on cameras and also on memory, you know, for the memory cards and, you know, little USB jump or flash drives, great prices. So yeah, as long as the camera functions, you know, as long as it's working accurately, that's great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Any other questions? All good? Well, again, all the information that you need for this class, hopefully, is here here on Canvas in the modules. The third fourth link, the fourth module down says video links. This is where you'll find the links for different videos for the written assignment. And I certainly hope you'll take a look at them anyway. Some of them I think are quite interesting, and there are so many different, you know, there's so many photographers who do different types of work that I think it's really very, very interesting. Of course, I love photography, but even so, I think it's pretty interesting to see the different types of photography that can be done. And finally, let me just go back. Yeah. I'll just quickly go over the welcome since we're doing a welcome. The first part, of course, is essentially what the beginning of the syllabus says, but the second part talks briefly about the structure of the class. So it says this online class accessed through Canvas is divided into modules. Each module deals with a photographic topic and contains readings, lectures, lecture notes, and in some cases, videos. The modules are presented in chronological order, that is, in the order in which you are to access them. This does not mean that you cannot look ahead, so to speak, and it's fine if you do so. The order of the assignments mirrors the order of the module subjects. So it mirrors them in that you need that information before you can do some of the assignments, especially the first two, depth of field and motion. Okay, and I think that's it. Again, welcome to the class. I do hope you enjoy it and find it informative and hopefully have some fun with it as well. And again, please let me know if you have questions or issues, and I am delighted to meet with you and talk with you. Okay, and I look forward to that. Again, my office hours are Wednesdays. They're on Wednesdays from 12:30 to 2:30. Okay, so if you have no more questions or no questions, I hope to see you guys soon. All right, stay healthy, stay safe. Bye.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Professor. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Take care.